Life is circling in the air. Between the earth and sky, the world seems so peaceful and beautiful. Looking to the far distance, our attention is drawn to the mountainous horizons and beyond. 99 Peaks, also known as Mount Jojo, forms a continuous line of curving peaks, seemingly eternal and never changing. It acts as a number of dividing barriers, which have led to an amazing range of biodiversity under the influences of evolution. Many seemingly unrelated threads cross paths in order to survive. With a penetrating stare through the clouds, a group of soaring birds weave together all these threads and become the focus of our story. In the afternoon, a heavy thunderstorm leaves the forest on edge. High on the giant Machilus tree rests a family hidden in the dense foliage. To shelter her newly hatched chick from being drenched by the rain, the mother honey buzzard fluffs up all her feathers as best she can to protect her offspring from the elements. After the rain, the open sky provides the stage for a passionate drama of honey buzzards. They raise both wings high up to clap them over their backs. This wing-clapping display flight not only attracts attention from the opposite sex, it also shows home defense will of each individual. Entering nature's arena, they must show off at their best. The high-frequency wing clapping invites no thundering applause, but it foretells that an amazing performance is about to begin. In the past, the Oriental Honey Buzzard has always been regarded as a migratory bird in Taiwan. However, as its numbers have increased through the years, they have attracted more and more human interest. Beginning in 2004 and subsidized by the Taiwan Forestry Bureau, a team from the Biodiversity Research Center of Academia Sinica, led by Dr. Lucia Leo Severinghaus, began research on the honey buzzard. By tagging and attaching transmitters to the birds, Dr. Severinghaus's team tracked their movements. To facilitate recognition, researchers named each tagged buzzard before it was released. After that, the transmitter became the team's only clue as to the whereabouts of each bird in the dense forest. After years of research, a mystery was solved. It turned out that the secretive honey buzzard had established a breeding population in the forests of 99 Peaks. The team discovered that many honey buzzards nest across central Taiwan, and 99 Peaks had become the most important area, because in these mountains there existed a temptation they simply could not resist. Early spring in the apiary. The air is buzzing with joy and expectation after much hard work. The beekeeper is busy sorting out the boxes, preparing for the upcoming longan flower season. Each box contains tens of thousands of honeybees. The beekeeper attends to them carefully, praying that this year will bring balmy weather and a bonanza of flowers to yield a sweet golden harvest. The beekeeper's top priority is to increase honey production. Since the male bee does not contribute to making honey, the beekeeper will slice off unwanted bee combs with male pupae and discard them on the ground. These combs, the so-called redundant combs, are dispersed throughout the apiary. And they become a special treat for the honey buzzard. The fact that the honey buzzard forages on bee pupae is a unique choice among raptors. There are about 300 species of raptors throughout the world, all of which are carnivores that prey on different types of animals. But there are only 3 species of honey buzzards from genus Pernis, whose specialty is preying on bee pupae. These 3 species of honey buzzards are the western honey buzzard from Europe and Africa, the barred honey buzzard from the Philippines and Sulawesi, and the Oriental honey buzzard found in East Asia, including Taiwan. The Oriental honey buzzard measures from 57 to 61 centimeters in length, with a wingspan from 121 to 135 centimeters. It is a large raptor, but slightly smaller than the crested serpent eagle. Also, the female is larger than the male. However, proportion-wise, the honey buzzard has a smaller head and longer and narrower beak and claws. Its face is covered with a thick layer of scaly-looking, very tough and fine feathers, which help to fend off bee stings. All these characteristics have evolved to facilitate preying on bee pupae. Another unique feature of the honey buzzard is the large variation in its plumage. As well as consistent differences between the male and female, some individuals appear to be very dark and some very pale, some with single-color underparts and some with complex markings. All these variations show little, if any, consistency. As a result, almost no 2 individuals look alike, which is a rare phenomenon in birds and a characteristic that calls for further study. The honey buzzards visit the apiary in order to feed. But with the arrival of the breeding season, they must display more survival skills than that. This honey buzzard is called national because it was tagged on Taiwan's National Day. During the breeding season, researchers find him, together with his mate Pearl, incubating in their nest. Surprisingly, the male buzzard shares a high percentage of the workload, proving itself an unusual and exemplary father in the raptor world. Another nest located on the east side of 99 Peaks is occupied by Blackish and Dark Lady. One can tell the gender of a honey buzzard by its eye color. The male has dark brown eyes compared to the bright yellow eyes of the female. Both male and female honey buzzards share all of the tasks rearing their young, such as incubating, maintaining the nest, and feeding the chicks. Compared with most other raptors, where the female normally cares for the chicks and the male is only in charge of providing food, the honey buzzard seems very modern with equality between the sexes. Blackish is regurgitating liquid food for the chick. This behavior is common for all parent honey buzzards during the early growth stages after the chick has hatched. Both parent birds will take turns to stand guard whilst rearing the chicks. It's Blackish's turn to stay in the nest today. He mustn't leave until Dark Lady comes back to relieve him the following day. June is the time when the wild bees resume activity following torpor, but their populations are still low. Although the honey buzzard uses bee pupae as its main food, a tender and succulent smooth green snake is still a very welcome supplement for the chick. Almost every day, the parent bird is seen bringing home a smooth green snake. Besides these, frogs, lizards, and young chicks of other birds are also regular items on the menu. The honey buzzard often builds its nest well hidden in the dense forest. To maintain a solid home for its offspring, the parents must be creative in finding various reliable nesting materials. Pearl carries a piece of Taiwan acacia back to the nest in her beak, whereas Dark Lady brings back a big branch from a machilus tree. All these natural nesting materials wear out quickly when exposed to the elements. To maintain its nest properly, the honey buzzard must repair and replace pieces constantly. Renovation is an ongoing job. Every day, parents will bring back to the nest suitable new twigs and branches for the comfort and safety of their exposed chicks. Even so, trials of nature may occur at any time. Dangers lurk everywhere. Although the adult honey buzzard has very few natural predators, the frail chick is easy prey and coveted by many. The agile Formosan macaque, for one, is certainly a rightly feared threat. Today, while Pearl is staying on the nest, a Formosan macaque comes loitering with intent. Pearl immediately blusters. The air is tense with the feeling of imminent danger. Luckily, as the situation intensifies, the male national comes back just in time. The macaque knows that it is now outnumbered, so it retreats. The alarm is over for the time being, but the danger remains. A chick can only reach adulthood if it receives the utmost care from its parents, and a little bit of luck as well. The clutch size of the honey buzzard is only 1 or 2. The reproduction rate is definitely not high. This nest belongs to Fortune. There were 2 chicks to start with, but one chick was born with a deformed leg and couldn't stand. After a few days, only the healthy one remains. The other is already dead on the ground under the tree. The goddess of fortune never seems to favor Fortune the bird. This male buzzard has experienced nothing but trials and tribulations trying to rear its young. Fortune has suffered the setbacks of a collapsed nest, broken eggs, an attack from a group of macaques, and a deformed baby. In the past 4 years, only one of his chicks has successfully fledged and left the nest. Fortune's misfortune could be considered a snapshot of Mother Nature at work, in which we see the true value of life. Sunshine piercing through the leaves brightens up the forest and makes it extraordinarily inviting. A young honey buzzard peers out intently, no longer content with its little world. More preparations must be made to finally be able to fly. Under the meticulous care of its parents, the chick is now almost completely fledged and can eat independently. With the coming of July, there are growing populations of wasps, and more pupae of different wasp species become available. Among them, the comb of Polistes rothnii is the most common food source, which provides plenty of energy. With its first set of feathers almost completely grown in, the fledgling spends more and more time alone in the nest. From time to time, it practices flapping its wings, preparing to venture into the outside world. The cicada screams incessantly and urgently, forecasting the imminent departure from home. Blackish and dark lady's fledgling walks back and forth in the vicinity of its nest, inching further and further away. Whichever parent is not out hunting will watch over it from nearby. The other parent still brings food back to the nest. The fledgling then rushes back to feed with begging calls. Both parents frequently circle above the nest, appearing to lure their fledgling to practice flying. In the following weeks, the fledgling extends its range and explores further away from the nest. About a month later, the fledgling finally leaves the nest for good and flies off to find its own place in the world. Although it is still hot in central Taiwan, the stronger wind signals that autumn is approaching for the northern countries. Taiwan golden rain trees put on their yellow headdresses to say goodbye to the summer. Brown shrikes, perching on treetops, hoarsely announce the arrival of migratory birds from the north. Cattle egrets that used to be scattered in the fields now congregate in preparation for their imminent journey. Tens of thousands of Chinese goshawks circle above Kending, waiting for the right wind to take them south. If we do raptor surveys in Kending in autumn, we can always spot hundreds of honey buzzards, which makes people believe that honey buzzards must be migratory as well. However, new data acquired in recent years raises a question for the researchers. If so many honey buzzards breed and stay in Taiwan, where are these seemingly migratory honey buzzards going? Dr. Severinghouse's research team is still trying hard to find the answer. The only certain thing is that the honey buzzard population on 99 Peaks is indeed confined only to Taiwan. When the wild sugarcane's snow-white flowers cover the entire riverbed, the breeding season of the honey buzzard has come to an end. A few new faces appear in the apiary on 99 Peaks. These young honey buzzards are not all locally born on 99 Peaks. Through tagging and tracking, the researchers have discovered their separate points of origin. This one comes from Dahu, Miaoli County. This one, Gongguan, Miaoli County. And this one, all the way from Yuchi in Nantou County. Honey buzzards from many different places gather here, not only for the many apiaries, but also because the autumn feast has begun here. The highlight of the Honey Buzzards Food Festival turns out to be a major threat to humans. Climate-wise, autumn is the most comfortable season in Taiwan, a season best suited for engaging in outdoor activities. However, there is a lethal danger hidden in the mountains, the hornet. Owing to its growing population and overcrowded hive, hornets become very irritable at this time of the year. For those hikers who by accident go too near a hornet hive, attack is almost certain, and the result is often hospitalization, or at times, even death. There are 7 different species of hornet in Taiwan, and all are equipped with lethal stings. Undoubtedly, it is the most feared of all insects. The hornet can adapt to various environments. Therefore, it is widely distributed from the high-altitude remote mountain areas to the low-altitude suburban hills. It has even colonized the cities. Belligerent by nature, the hornet will fight even its own kind fiercely. The hornet and the wasp are both carnivores and predators in the insect world. It is thus not surprising that they will prey on each other. This Parapolybia varia's hive is being attacked by its larger opponent, the Vespa ducalis. On another occasion, a solitary Vespa ducalis is besieged by a swarm of Parapolybia varia. The casualty, now maimed, can no longer fly. In the end, the only reward goes to the ants. For a long time, a love-hate relationship has existed between the Taiwanese people and the hornet. On the one hand, Taiwanese fear the toxin of the hornet. On the other hand, they worship the medicinal effects of that same toxin. While humans try every which way to deal with the hornet, they often forget that in the wild, the hornet has a perfectly evolved natural predator. The thing the hornet fears the most is the honey buzzard. There is hostility in the air on 99 Peaks in winter. A few honey buzzards have taken vantage points on top of different peaks, as if waiting to enter a battle together. Since summer, the hornet has been expanding its hive. Now, the hive is laden with residents, so much so that the honey buzzard sees a feast that is impossible to resist. In December, while tracking the buzzard nicknamed Black Crown, researchers discovered a Vespa velutina hive on the north side of 99 Peaks. Although a few different honey buzzards are seen nearby, they have not yet made a move. In the morning, when a cold front moves in, one of the honey buzzards finally strikes. Ramming the hive at high speed time after time, the honey buzzard lures away thousands of furious hornets in hot pursuit. The honey buzzard quickly evades the hornets, recovers after a breather, and then strikes again. With repeated assaults, the honey buzzard not only destroys the structure, but also diverts a large number of hornets away from the nest. However, even after the hive has been badly gashed, all the diverted hornets soon return to defend their broken home. This honey buzzard fought alone for 3 hours, but the hornets were still able to protect their hive. As the fog closes in, the honey buzzard calls a truce. The hornet family survives for the time being. First thing the following morning, the hornets start to mend their broken hive. Working diligently together, they fix the hive in 10 days, and the hive looks just like new again, from the outside at least. This is another Vespa velutina hive on the west side of 99 Peaks. It has been spied upon by a group of honey buzzards for quite a few days. It is this nest's misfortune that this time the honey buzzards have the advantage of numbers. How they communicate with each other and gather here remains a mystery. When morning comes, one honey buzzard takes the lead to ram into the hive. A big swarm of hornets spill out from the hive entrance, mad and in hot pursuit. A few minutes later, when all the outgoing hornets have returned, the honey buzzards start their second wave of attack. This time, 2 more honey buzzards join in and take turns ramming the hornet hive. This male honey buzzard is cornered on a rock ledge by the hornets. The repeated pounding takes a lot of energy out of the bird. Only when a few honey buzzards take turns can they exert enough pressure on the hornets. During the attack, the honey buzzards attempt many times to set foot on the hive, but fail because there are still too many hornets around. Over the course of a whole day, this group of honey buzzards has launched assaults more than 50 times. When afternoon comes, the hornets are slowly being driven away. The honey buzzards stand on the hive. The combat fatigue finally draws to an end, and the honey buzzards can begin to feed at last. After a whole day of battle, darkness has set in, and the feast is put on hold temporarily. Early next morning, many hornets that have returned to their battered hive attempt a hasty repair. But the honey buzzards take their position to feed as well. The war between offense and defense begins again. However, today's battle is not as harsh as yesterday's. The honey buzzards take the upper hand quickly. More and more of them show up. At most, there are 7 birds feeding at the same time. After being checked by plumage, it is ascertained that more than 10 honey buzzards have come to devour the hornet pupae at different times. And they never once fought among themselves. To get as many pupae as possible, the honey buzzards display amazing agility and ingenuity. After finishing with the lower combs, and in order to reach the upper ones, they start to employ some very unusual positions. Some hang upside down. Some open their wings. Some manage to maintain balance by using tree branches and leaning on their comrades at the same time. This male cannot reach any further hanging upside down. Whilst a female, taking advantage of her larger size, stretches her neck and feasts on the upper combs with ease. A large-sized hornet hive such as this one can provide food for a group of honey buzzards for as long as a week. During this time, despite the fact that the hive keeps getting smaller and smaller, the hornets are still determined to keep trying to repair it. However, in the end, the speed of the mending efforts cannot keep up with the feeding frenzy. Right under the hornet's own eyes, all the pupae are being consumed, and the tug of war is finally over. It takes a lot out of a honey buzzard to prey on hornet hives. In comparison, it seems much easier to just go to an apiary and feed on the redundant combs. As the weather gets colder, food in the wild is getting short. The apiary means more than ever to the honey buzzard. The honeybee needs flowers to give nectar. Therefore, the beekeeper always migrates with the flowers. Citrus, tea plant, longan, and lychee flowers are the honeybee's favorites. But these flowers bloom at different times and in different places. The beekeeper must move to the next destination in the shortest possible time. During daytime, he's busy sorting among the boxes. As soon as night falls, he loads all the boxes onto his truck. He drives all night to get to where the flowers are, so that tens of thousands of bees won't suffocate in their tiny boxes. In turn, the honey buzzard migrates with the beekeeper for food. In sympathy, the beekeeper sees the honey buzzard as a fellow wanderer that travels to survive. He has long been accustomed to this uninvited guest, who helps with recycling the waste. In Taiwan, there seems to have evolved a symbiotic relationship between the honey buzzard and the beekeeper. The honey buzzard observes quietly and learns to adjust to the routines of the apiary. When the beekeeper finishes work, the honey buzzard takes over. However, there's sometimes a price to pay for the wild animal that lives too close to humans. This honey buzzard was found outside an apiary in a snare and taken to the Endemic Species Research Institute for treatment. Another honey buzzard was found dead with a colored ring, indicating that it was one of the birds that had been tagged and studied by the research team. They are the victims of hunters who know only too well the honey buzzard's habit of frequenting the apiary and who set up traps to satisfy people's special taste for game meat. After having its leg snapped, this honey buzzard can no longer survive in the wild. It must succumb to captivity for the rest of its life, never to fly again. There are people who kill the honey buzzard for food, but there are also more and more people who try to get close to this bird in a very different way. They travel a long way to visit the apiary, quietly waiting in a shed or a hide to just admire this secretive raptor. The honey buzzard therefore becomes a walking advertisement and a go-between. In gratitude for the beekeeper's kindness to the bird and the bird-watching opportunity, birdwatchers will always buy some honey on their way out. Nature's food chain is an amazingly intricate network with complex and subtle links among each and every player. What we now know is very limited. Despite many years of research on the honey buzzard, scientists are still faced with many unsolved riddles. With global climate change and the ever-increasing pressure of human encroachment, the soaring honey buzzard seems to be revealing to us a profound message, allowing us to witness how animals persevere in the harshest environments. When the honey buzzard decided to settle on this land, it consented to a lifetime of wandering and adventure. Its fate is mirrored by the diverse but fragile ecosystem of 99 peaks. A flower blooms. A bee leads the way. These things reflect nature's complex network through links acted out by humans and the honey buzzard. As we rely on each other and evolve together. In the end, we realize that however triumphant the honey buzzard appears in its flight, it cannot survive without our understanding and support. Peaks has been the witness of this legend. We hope the honey buzzard, just like the name of the mountain range chosen as its home, can live forever and ever.